I'm Dr. Rachel Griffiths, and I'm with my father and partner in aquatics.
Dr. Tom Griffiths.
Welcome to the Drowning Files, where each week we share a lawsuit we've been involved in or another true story with suggestions to learn from these tragedies to save lives. What case do you have today?
And so several years ago, I had a tragic case, where a good swimmer was showing his younger brother how he could swim underwater, but he had added a element of going off the diving board, and he would jump off the diving board or dive off the diving board, then try to swim as many lengths as he could underwater. And we find this a lot with blackouts, breath-holding blackouts, underwater hypoxic blackouts, where a drill or a skill or a game is introduced in the water. And so in a resort type pool, this individual, this older boy, teenager, would show his brother, impress his brother by jumping and diving off the board and then swimming the length of the pool back and forth. And he was doing it more and challenging himself to do it further. And of course, this young boy passed out on his return to the deep end where the diving board was. And although his younger brother knew he was in trouble, he didn't have enough breath control, didn't have enough swimming ability to reach his brother. And he kept trying to get him off the bottom, the deep end of the pool. But when he grabbed him, he had to let go to rise to the surface, catch a breath of air, go back down, and so forth. And so, although he courageously tried to save his brother, he just didn't have the skill level and the breath control to do that, which inadvertently led to a loss of time in getting an adult to the pool, who eventually recovered the older boy, but he succumbed to the hypoxia and drowned because water entered his lungs and he didn't have enough oxygen to support life. And so that's the case I had for you. This case went to a jury trial, and it was a very dramatic jury trial with the parents sitting in the audience, the jury there, and I testified in this case. And the reason why I remember seeing the parents and his brother and sister in the audience is because it was such a tragic case for me, and I've had many of these, and it never gets easier for me. Is I remember in front of the judge and the jury and everyone in the audience, I broke down in tears because I was explaining that this was a shallow water blackout case, and we should have educated. We taught this boy how to swim, but we didn't know enough at the time to educate him about shallow water blackout. I mean, I knew about it, you knew about it, but we were in the minority. The general public didn't know that this was a dangerous practice and didn't educate this young boy. And I felt so horrible about it that I broke down in tears in front of the judge and juries, and we had to stop for a few minutes until I regained my composure. So that's why I bring out that case to you now.
And just one note on, you had mentioned water entering the lungs, which of course is dangerous, but I just wanted to mention one more time, like I mentioned just the other week, that it's a brain problem first. So water enters the lungs, and that's how they declare something a drowning, and that's how it's determined to officially be a drowning. But what's really going to be the problem is not getting oxygen to the brain.
Exactly. And the reason why I mentioned water entering the lungs is because if the person dies, they say with water in the lungs, that's the cause of drowning. But yes, indeed, the more important thing is the lack of oxygen to the brain, the hypoxia or the anoxia. If we get them out in time and the hypoxia isn't that severe, we can get the water out of the lungs. You're 100% correct, and that's a good point to make.